So should I do the official 50-second countdown?
Sure.
Oh my
104
God,
is
no,
it?
please.
This is 104?
204.
204.
Okay.
104.
Damn it.
Do you travel back in time?
Oh,
It's your kids,
all
Marty.
right.
It's either I travel back into time or I'm just telling the truth now.
I need fuel. All
What
right.
happens to us in the future, Doc? Do we have too much gaming?
It's not enough, really.
All right.
Sports Almanac.
I'll do a 10-second count to start the show.
Oh no, new patch
starting
notes.
in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Wow. Hey, TMG Podcast 204. This is Carlos, and with me is everybody, aka Miggy,
Yo.
Migs,
What's up?
who was doing the countdown, but I don't know if we're gonna probably add it to the episodes, but that was just really weird. But yeah, Matthew's also here as well.
Hi.
And yet another week of us bantering and talking about a lot of video games. And yeah, this is what, second week of June, and we have a lot of games we want to talk about. Even a lot of events we're actually looking forward to, actually. Since this is, I think this is the week, or maybe the weeks where the announcement starts kicking in because of E3. You know what I mean?
Supposed E3.
Supposedly. And so it's a weird time right now. But I think we'll get more of those announcements soon enough in the coming weeks.
We'll have a PS5 event, I think, this
On the
coming
11th?
June 11th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Shall we have an emergencies podcast after that?
well, it's not an emergency, but I think we're gonna do something live. Like something like a
Some
watch
live
party
reacts.
of some sort. We might do some kind of fun thing. I don't know if we can actually plan it, like properly organize it, but something maybe you guys and also us as a group can actually just have fun with it while we, I guess, take in whatever Sony has in store for us on the PS5 console.
Stony.
The Stony.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about video games. Matt, you've been apparently doing a lot of shooting.
A lot of a lot of
So what is that all about?
a lot of messing with people. So, as we all know, we live in. We've had a lot of stuff going on in the news regarding Black Lives Matter. I don't want to get too much into it, the politics of it all, but suffice it to say, I share the same outrage and indignation about racism in America and all that stuff. And I felt like a good way to cathartically release that energy is through some fucking video games. So I installed Watch Dogs 2, Mafia 3, and Payday 2, the heist, over the weekend, and have been having a blast.
Huh, pun intended. Huh.
Well, not... Okay, you got me. In the case of Watch Dogs 2, as you guys already know, I'm a huge stan for this game. And so I probably talked about it more than once in the podcast before, or maybe even written an old weekend hangover piece about the game. And for me, this week, the appeal of that game is basically playing a young black kid who has been framed by predictive algorithms for a crime he didn't commit. The profiler is all like, yo, you are young and black and, have special skills. Therefore, you are likely to commit a violent crime. And so...
Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's
Is that really what happened?
That's that is the backstory. That is the...
That sounds
Predictive
too real
crime.
right now.
Yeah, predictive crime, pre-crime. Samantha Morton lying down.
Wasn't he trying to hack a company, and then he just so happens to be he gets caught that moment as well. He gets
well, when you start
chased.
When you start the game, you are hacking into a company, but you're hacking to remove your criminal profile.
Oh.
And then that then turns out
Yeah,
so well.
I know you played the game already. Played a bit of the game, Carlos, but
a bit of it. I kind of forgot.
yeah, I can't blame
been a
you
while.
if it's been a while and you've forgotten. But that's what happens, and you purge your profile from the system, which is, of course, the game's conceit for allowing you to operate in the open without being identified by, facial recognition scans. Like if you open up the hacking tool and you turn the camera towards your character, Marcus Holloway, you'll just be visible as like, an unidentifiable blur, just like Aiden Pierce in Watch Dogs 1. And so anyway, for me to, I don't want to talk too much about the game because there are 2 other games I want to talk about. But for me, the appeal of this game is fucking people up who kind of deserve it. Like, so there's this thing in Watch Dogs. You have this profile tool that lets you scan people's cell phones and figure out and find their identity and their hobbies and their interests. And so you'll see like, oh, this guy, he donates to a Christian fundamentalist group, or this guy, he's a private equity trader or whatever. And you'd be like, that guy, he's a private equity trader. Time to frame him for murder. And so you can forge an arrest warrant on any character, any NPC in the world, and have the cops show up and arrest him. And sometimes what's hilarious is sometimes those people will resist arrest, and violent conflict ensues. Likely they get gunned down, and you do your part in getting rid of the 1%, ridding the world of the 1%. Or the 5%.
Have you actually like when you actually frame somebody and then they actually, willingly go to the cop car, and then they go their way? Do you actually follow them to see if they actually process him?
Oh, I should do that. I should really do that. Now you've got me.
Or does he just, or do they just disappear into thin air and all of a sudden Ubisoft got you?
I'm gonna record that footage. I'm gonna find.
Yeah.
Thanks for the idea, Carlos.
I'm actually curious about too, because in Watch Dogs 1, you can set cars on fire and all that, but
like any other
right. But like it'll spawn a fire truck, but then the game doesn't know what to do after that, so the fire truck will just either like go right past you or drive in circles, and then the firefighters don't actually do anything once they get to the scene because they're not programmed to actually deal with the fire. Same goes with ambulances.
That's what I actually want to get into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry, Migs, what you say?
I actually had a similar experience with Jurassic World.
Oh God.
Yeah. I think we saw this, and we were trying to see how far the helicopter goes when it's like exporting a dinosaur that's been tranquilized, or
so, you're like airlifting
a
a dinosaur out of the park.
Yeah, so I'm airlifting a dinosaur out of the park, and we're trying to track how far it will go to the island, and it just glitches away on the invisible wall.
Just hard disappears.
Don't leave me hanging, bro. What happens then? Where does this take you? Does the dinosaur just fade away?
Oh no! Like it really glitches. Like it like jerks up, and like the helicopter jerks down then up immediately, and then just disappears.
No animation whatsoever.
Yeah.
That actually would be fun to do, because there's a lot of open world games, and even like in Assassin's Creed, if like someone like how lively are these worlds are, like for example, this modern times, like will the fire truck do the fire truck things, or stuff like that.
I didn't know that this conversation would
most of the time. No. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we actually went completely derailed about.
No, I'm having a great time. I just think it's interesting that a conversation about messing up the virtual 1% turned into a conversation about systems resilience in video games. Whether the systems that drive our video games can really hold up scrutiny.
Yeah, because I remember, Mike, you were also like talking about how empty GTA 5 feels right now compared to what it was before. When during launch it was kind of this is a living, breathing city. But as of now, in today's standards, it looks very barren or really artificial.
Yeah.
From what I can.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'll add to that. Like in the most recent Spider-Man game on PS4, like the game will spawn an ambulance when you rescue civilians. And those people don't do a goddamn thing. They'll just pat the dude on the shoulder and
they just show up. They'll just
like,
show
you
up.
okay, man? And then that's it. Then they just stand there crossing their arms.
They have healing fingers, I guess.
New York's finest.
Leave, right? They're just gonna stay there.
They're just gonna stand there. Yeah. They don't do anything.
You know what's great? Sleeping dogs. You can hurt someone, like you'll maul someone in Hong Kong, and they'll get knocked out. So they're quote unquote dead or unconscious, and then the paramedics will show up, the ambulance will show up, and they'll go over there to like help the guy out or whatever, or pronounce him dead. And you can kill the paramedics, and what will happen is another paramedic will show up. I think what my wife did, they killed, I think 4 paramedics or something like that. So there were like 5 ambulances in the same vicinity.
See, that's what when you're having fun with an open world game, like in like old GTA. You're just really messing up with the world, like and everybody's just gathering here, nothing's happening, people are dying, it's fine.
And just to wrap that up, I want to say that after we got those 5 ambulances, the only thing left to do was, of course, to blow up all 5 ambulances at the same time. Because what are you going to do, right?
Of course.
That's the rule.
Chain explosion. It's always good for a chain explosion.
Right.
Yeah. Another game I want to talk about quickly. Another game I want to talk about is Payday 2. You guys remember Payday 2? Any of you play that one?
Which I kind of want to get back into, actually. It's still a good game. Just for like, it's like one of the good choices in terms of like 4-player co-op.
Hop in with me.
If you really want to stop playing Left 4 Dead, but yeah.
Yeah, hop in with me, Carlos. We'll play some Payday 2. Yeah, I think you remember. So the premise of the game is you're bank robbers. Well, not just bank robbers, but you're professional criminals, and you group up with your friends, 4 players. You can go solo, or you can find randos. I don't know why you would do that, and perform heists. And there are so many missions now in the game. Because the game has been out since 2013, so that's been 7 years of consecutive support in the form of free updates and paid DLC, as well as promotional tie-ins. Like I think they did a promotional tie-in with
John Wick was one.
Yeah, with John Wick, with Hotline Miami.
Yeah.
And I think with even the Universal. Is it Universal? But so the film company that holds rights to Scarface, they even put Al Pacino in the game.
Oh dang, that's sick.
Yeah, see, I like those kinds of transitions with other developers because like it's just fun. Like it's actually a relation, just as how like a similar like co-op ish kind of game like Dead by Daylight, where they just have like horrors from other movies come in, and then
and
like I want to see more of that.
Yeah,
in multiplayer games.
And the great thing about Payday 2 is it's now just such a diverse well of criminal operations to do. This is gonna get saying this is gonna get me on a watch list, but for me the appeal is just looking for wealthy people who freaking deserve it, and steal their stuff, their paintings, their bank funds and all that stuff, and then shooting up a lot of cops in the process. And and that's gonna get me on a watch list, I'm sure. But I think what's really hilarious about the game. This morning I was was it this morning yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. I was playing. We were doing the typical bank robber mission, and what happened was we set it to very hard difficulty. And what that usually means is that the cops will be more aggressive. They'll send more people, and they'll send more high-level cop NPCs against you, meaning people with heavier tactical gear. And what was funny was we went loud, and the number of cops that came into this small city bank, like the amount of life that was killed in that mission was far in excess of the amount of gold we were going to steal from the bank. I was like, is it really worth this many lives to protect this much gold? But, I guess blue lives don't matter.
Oh, damn.
I'm not saying that I approve it. I'm saying that this is a fucked up accurate representation of the world. That a video game is all like, rich people will send as many cops to die for their wealth or something.
There might be a VIP thing hidden in the vault that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Like the Declaration of Independence.
No, I think there is a game. I think there is a mission where you steal the Declaration of Independence or some similar.
I think we're going to go a series of that.
Yeah, we need that National Treasure expansion for Payday.
Oh God, that would be so great. Yeah.
That's how Nick Cage goes into Payday. Fucking national treasure.
He would approve. He would totally approve.
Indeed, it's not even Face Off. We're gonna go with National Treasure.
It's not even the one that actually makes sense. Just go with a straight up was that. Oh god.
Yeah. So, yeah, Payday 2. Great game. Play it. Shoot up some banks and stuff. Oh, I did tell my friends though, I'm against one thing. Like, there are lots of missions to do, and many of them are like questionable. Of course, like cooking meth or whatever. One thing I told them was, I'll take any mission that we're gonna, do this sort of like Robin Hood scum kind of stuff, but I will not support any missions in which, because there's a mission where you rig the elections, where you like steal the vote and help one of the bad guys become, mayor or whatever, or president. And I was like, you know what? I cannot, on moral grounds, support this kind of criminal mission. Because that is how America got where it was. So, yeah, just so you know, I have standards.
I'm surprised that you actually needed multiple games to actually express that kind of need. like I think Watch Dogs 2 would actually hit the part, but no, I need to also rob the bank.
Well,
I also need to go to Hong Kong.
The difference between Watch Dogs 2 and Payday is that I get to have my friends over to fuck shit up.
Watch Dogs? Well, wait. Yeah, you can. Isn't there co-op in Watch Dogs? Watch Dogs 2 at least.
Oh, really? I don't know.
In Watch Dogs, there's like a.
There's a hacking game where you and another Aiden peers have to fight each other.
Yeah. Like invasion type.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I do have to finish Watch Dogs 2 though. Like I don't know why I stopped playing. It was a good game. Watch Dogs 1 was just not a good game. I mean,
it was
for a lot of reasons actually.
I know.
I didn't like it. I didn't like Aiden. I didn't like it. Became dull. I don't know if Watch Dogs 2 is going to be similar in terms of gameplay because I didn't play it as much as 1 because I finished 1. But there's a lot of problems at least. Maybe we can talk about that on a later date. But that's my thoughts of it.
The thing I always tell people about Watch Dogs 1 versus Watch Dogs 2 is that I understand if people do actually like gravitate toward Watch Dogs 1 and enjoy that, but part of the reason why that game didn't do as well as it did, other than the controversies regarding its technical downgrade, were just the fact that the protagonist is just not fun to be around. You know what I mean? Like, we do love our serious action hero guys in our video games, but he's just like not relatable. He's just so unpleasant and humorless that, Watch Dogs do sort of offset that by having a protagonist that provides levity and humor and actually enjoys what he's doing. There's like a cause, but he's not like, oh my daughter, my niece, I need us to get revenge for my family and my niece.
Yeah, Aiden was a weird character.
Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, no, it was the death, revenge. I'll hack you all.
It was super creepy too, right? Because it's his sister's kid.
Yeah.
It's because they don't want to age the character by making him have a daughter, an actual daughter. I think that's what happened. They were like, oh, if the character actually has a daughter, then he'll be an actual father, and that means he'll, the white male single players might not relate to him or some weird ass random nonsense like that. Like we've never tried to connect with a character who's different from us ever before. But anyway, yeah. And the last game I want to talk about is Mafia III. Which, by the way,
that I didn't like. In terms of mission structure, but I'll maybe later.
Oh no! Tell me about it. I want Don't let me ramble all afternoon. What's up?
It was hard to actually get into onto the mission structure and the gameplay of it because of, I guess it lacked a bit of personality because there's a lot of driving going around back and forth, and maybe just a little bit of like very dull combat that doesn't really spice up. If you, for example, you've experienced a shootout in the first hour and then the shootout in the 20th hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Like they're very similar. So it was too familiar almost all throughout the long period of the campaign that the boredom was actually kicking in really early.
Absolutely. I absolutely 100% agree. The problem with Mafia 3 is that when you start the game, the kind of gameplay you're introduced to at the beginning is functionally identical to the gameplay that you're experiencing 20 hours later. and there's a lot of padding, a lot of repetitiveness. It's almost like because the way the game is structured is that you have all these districts that you want to conquer, and each of these districts, before you can lure the boss out to conquer them, you have to like threaten their income. And I think
God, that's Syndicate. It's actually Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Yeah,
I just realized.
it is like Assassin's Creed Syndicate, except Assassin's Creed Syndicate doesn't demand this many hours just to do that. And so, and it's okay if a game is, it's quote unquote okay if a game is this bloated, like it's a 40-hour, 60-hour experience. We're used to that, I guess, for better or worse. But then when the gameplay is also repetitive, then it's just like, well, okay, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's a shame, because I think Mafia 3's story and characters are the best thing about it. But to get through that story and character is to get through a huge chunk of tiring, tedious gameplay.
Did you actually like the first 2 games, Matt? Why 3 to be specific? I think I know why, but
I just think I really like. I really like the story of Mafia 3. I love the fact that it brings a unique or a completely different perspective, because we've seen so many games that are about the mob or the crime gang experience that are filtered through like being an Italian American or being being white, I guess, or in the case of Sleeping Dogs, Hong Kong. But we haven't seen one that is from a black perspective or a biracial perspective. But I think what's really cool about
came
Mafia
from the war, right?
Yeah, he's a Vietnam War veteran, and I thought what was really cool about it was that it's a very righteous revenge story. The guy got wronged, and I think the writing is also very good. A lot of what the game has to say about race relations and class and all that stuff is not necessarily political sermoning or politicized, but it's definitely colors the experience in a way that makes you feel like you're experiencing a very unique story. And I think, to me, to get back to this whole playing video games for catharsis during these dark times, I was playing this game, not just to shoot up people, but to sort of really act out that sort of like racially driven like vengeance. And I think Mafia 3 is unique in that regard.
Is it actually I'm kind of curious if it's like the one thing I did not do when I played 3 was I didn't really fully finish 1 and 2, and since the definitive edition for both those first 2 games are out,
we could talk about Mafia 2 quickly.
Did you play a couple of hours into it?
I finished Mafia 2.
The definitive edition?
I finished Mafia 2 back in 2012. I thought that game was fine. Its storytelling is also pretty good. They brought some great character actors to play the characters, and it's a real, by the numbers sort of Goodfellas style story about a guy who rises up the ranks in the criminal underworld. But I thought it was also not as great as people make it out to be, because most of the gameplay is very linear. It has a great historically accurate open world sort of like fake New York setting, but there's not much to do about in the game. Like, you drive from mission to mission, and there's almost no side activities. If I'm not wrong, I think there are no side activities, and I think that's why Mafia 3. That might be a reason why Mafia 3 overcompensated for
it's
it.
It's riddled with it.
Yeah, it's
riddled with fucking activities.
Yeah, you can finish Mafia 2 in about 12 hours, I think. I have that record on Steam.
Dang.
And Mafia 3, I believe, is a 40-hour game at least.
Jesus.
And not all of those hours, as we discussed earlier, not all of those hours are 100% enjoyable.
Okay.
So yeah, that's been my gaming weekend.
Yeah.
That many games.
A lot of shooting, and I think we're going to talk about more shooting, because me and Migs actually went through another game that just came out.
Right.
Came out
last week?
June 2?
Yeah.
Was it last week? Yeah, Valorant. Everybody's playing it, maybe. Very good tactical shooter if you like CSGO. Holy shit, I didn't even think I would actually enjoy this one. By Riot Games. And I don't know, Migs. Well, you play. I think you played more CS:GO than me. I've played CS:GO just because out of peer pressure, but
I played CS:GO
I think
for
I think we've all played CS:GO out of peer pressure.
2 or 3 years. For 2 or 3 years, I was playing that game. So the transition from CS:GO to Valorant's mechanics is I think I got it easy compared to your experience or to our friends' experiences who's used to other shooters like Rainbow Six or Overwatch.
Or any other shooter really.
Yeah.
Like it's still a unique experience simply because of like things that are not obvious to someone who's very new to to these kinds of shooters.
Especially
and I remember like
especially to shooter that has like CS:GO's style of mechanics, which is like a slow game.
methodical at times actually. And like I think the one thing that kept on, like, I remember like our friend like Emil, and then when we were playing with iJohn and everything, we had to like remind them like your movement actually affects your accuracy, and that's something that's always been unique with CS:GO ever since.
Yeah.
Or I think Half-Life, because it's the same mod. But anyway, standing still is very key, and that's something that not many shooters do nowadays. Like Call of Duty, Halo, Gears of War, all of that. You can be accurate when you're moving around. CS:GO knew, or Valorant even knew, which actually that feature or that function is already just a clear shot that Valorant really wants to compete solely against CS:GO directly.
Does it help
And
that
I think they're doing it well.
Does it help that Counter-Strike is like, that old now? I mean, not to be like anti-old games or anything like that, but I'm sure there is a vast cross section of the Counter-Strike audience that's, I guess, looking for something new.
I think there is, because I think based on how I'm seeing it, well, correct me if I'm wrong, Migs, but it seems like they're very much open or actually welcoming that there's an actual direct competition against CS:GO directly. Because the differences, the similarities on how it's functioned is actually very similar, and it's very hard to get away from it. And it seems like it's all positive all throughout. They love the fact that there's actually a good option
Like
for that kind of gameplay.
from what I've heard, they made this game to cater also to non-first person shooters who like Riot's other IPs like League of Legends. So they have to develop a game that is this is like CS:GO with like individual characters or character skills mixed up, but also make it more accessible and a bit easier and more forgiving than CS:GO. Because even though they share like the same DNA when it comes to movement, there are still like subtle differences. Like for example, like the hitboxes you have in CS:GO and Valorant is very different. Like in Valorant, they kind of simplified it to just the head and the body and the leg. While in CS:GO, there's like five hitbox categories. They have like the head, the torso, the arms, the abdomen, the legs. So stuff like that, as well as some mechanics about like jumping and like tagging. I guess like tagging in Valorant is more unforgiving compared to CS:GO. Like once you get tagged, once you get hit by a bullet, you will like slow down to a crawl. Oof. And it's pretty much you're dead unless you get into a nearby cover. So
that's also like it's much more forgiving in CS:GO. Like if you're in a corner and you get hit, you can at least crawl your way back into a more better position. Yeah. Okay. Because I haven't played it in a while, but yeah.
I mean, that's what I remember in CS:GO. Like you can still like get out of a firefight if you get a lot of hits in, and but yeah, like even just in the sense of like buying stuff in Valorant, it's more simplified. And I guess since they introduced characters that has distinct abilities, so like in CS:GO you have utility items that you can buy like flashbangs and frag grenades and diffuse kits. In Valorant there isn't anything like that because most of those utility is now in the characters. So that gives the characters more value now. Like for example, you have this is Smoke Guy. and this is Flashbang Guy. And if you want that in your team, you have to use those guys.
If you want Vampire Girl, which I love. But yeah, that's actually the cool thing, the cool little twist they got with Valorant, that all utilities that, that add more spice into the game, like flashbangs, smoke grenades, all that jazz, are now how they introduce hero or characters, or what are they called? But operators? I don't know what they call. What is the
agents?
I don't know what they're called. Heroes? Are they people with powers?
Like operators is in Rainbow Six.
Vanguard.
Like Vanguard.
Whatever, yeah, like something like that. But it's really cool. They actually have a lot of personality. That's why the best description I can give for Valorant is like it's as if CS:GO and Overwatch had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was supported by Riot Games. Huh?
I think Apex Legends also falls that.
Oh, the Apex Legends is if Overwatch and PUBG gets a kid. That's like how it is.
Oh, okay.
Because Overwatch is always like, is the one who really pushed that whole hero roster kind of deal.
He's the main mother or the main mom.
He's the main guy. He's the main father. He's been having a lot of kids lately. But yeah. But yeah. Valorant, even the guns. Buying is the same, very simplified, but even the guns, they have their own version of AK, they have their own version of the AUG, or I don't know what it was called before, and CS:GO. The M4's there.
Like even the operator, like in CS:GO we have the op, the AWP, and in Valorant they just named it the operator, so that if you short into op, it's still op. So that's the idea behind it.
Yeah, and I didn't think, because I was never really like super into CS:GO. Well, no, just because I was playing with my friends. Really, I wasn't really like alone. I really want to play CS:GO. Actually was more interested in Dota 2 back then, or even Dota 1. But CS:GO it's just more of because my friends were playing it. So I'll play it. And then there you go. So I wasn't really digging it. But this one, this is actually pretty addicting. That's the feeling of it right now. Like it's like 30 minutes of your time. You have to commit to 30 minutes of a normal game in Valorant. Because it's a race to 13 rounds.
You know what?
And so it's what?
I actually, initially, I don't really want to play this game because I don't want to play another CS:GO game because it just stresses me out. But after playing with you guys...
You know how we've had so many rounds about Migs where we're just like completely depressed and then we just felt like ending our life. Yeah, we just couldn't.
But that's the thing. It's easier than CS:GO, and for some reason, I miss this kind of stress. In shooter games,
I miss this kind of stress.
That can only be found in CS:GO like games, I guess.
Right.
So that's that, and of course we have friends to play.
Which is kind of like, I don't know, but it's a problem with any matchmaking game. But since we all like gathered together, a group of 5 friends that just want to play Valorant together, have a good time, and then we get matched up to an actual team. And because they're also grouped into 5s, so it becomes a very stressful night of Valorant, and it becomes a very but I still like it. I definitely like it. It's definitely I like what Riot Games is doing overall in terms of really like putting a stamp on the competitive side, because they were doing really well with the Legends of Runeterra.
That's
maybe
also
not the plunder feature. And they have now Valorant out officially, and that's doing well. There's gonna be like tournaments soon for that game, and it's gonna be nothing like Crucible. Wink, wink. Like this has potential to do some kind of like community building and make an actual like dent in an already crowded space. And for Riot Games to have 2 games released within a couple of weeks in between each other, and then actually get a decent like head start.
Yeah.
As a free to play title, they're both free to play. I'm just super excited for their fighting game project. Then, if this is the kind of thing they're coming out, because take note that they have also a fighting game in the works. They just haven't really fully promoted that to the public. So Riot Games is definitely like, we have League of Legends, but we got so much more planned. And it feels like they're doing it right, at very least.
All they need is City Builder. All they need is Sim City.
Yep, they're gonna rule the world soon. So
well, they'll have to compete with City Skylines for that, right?
It's set in Runeterra.
The City Skylines like the biggest one.
So,
sim building, like,
right now, I guess it's the better one.
Yeah, it's
Jurassic World.
Jurassic World had a more mixed reception.
Yeah, that's
I'm sure it has different dinosaur, but fucking. I want to.
Dinosaurs, Jesus.
Speaking of strategy games, I just want to ask: did anybody see that Command and Conquer Remastered is out?
Yep.
Oh my god! I really want to. I should buy it. It's like 1,000 pesos in Steam for both, and then they have like remastered musics and all that. Wait, did they actually fix the audio, or they
fixed the audio?
Yeah,
they recorded it from what I've known.
I think Carlos is having a seizure now, and a seizure of excitement.
Space.
CNC? Why not, man?
Yeah, I'm a little tempted, but I'm not sure yet. I gotta dig through the games I'm playing right now.
And the reviews seem to be decent. We haven't had that in a while in terms of remastered. Or am I wrong?
They're all across the board positive, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I like
then there you go.
I mean, you still have to know what you're getting into, which is like, legacy gameplay, but as a form of like taking all that stuff and just making it accessible again to 21st century interfaces and players or whatever, like, it's been thumbs up everywhere. And that's
interesting.
And that also coincides with another recent development, the addition of EA games back into Steam.
Oh, you're right.
Sale, like discounted games.
That came out of nowhere. You're right. Came out of nowhere. Together with EA's remastered release, they have that out, and then now we can buy Dragon Age, which is actually pretty cheap. Like Dragon Age 1, 2, and Inquisition. I have some issues with the whole thing a bit though, which is like, I'm glad. Did they give up? It sounds like they're giving up.
I wouldn't say they're giving up, but I think EA obviously recognizes that no matter what terms you get in, you place yourself in the Steam store, being on the Steam store is, a huge point of visibility in terms of like what games you're selling and sales numbers, right? Like they have Origin, even Ubisoft recognizes they still sell games on Uplay, but they also sell them on Steam. They just make Uplay mandatory. And what EA has done is basically course correct on a decision they made 10 years ago, I believe, or 15 years ago, about taking away all their catalog from Steam and confining it exclusively to the Origin store. And that, I think that is sort of like, on a small way, impacted their sales negatively. Because, all of us are just lazy. We just open Steam. As it is, Epic Game Store is new, and I still have trouble, I wouldn't say I have trouble. I do notice that people still don't really register the games that are coming out if they only come out on the Epic Game Store. But what sucks about the EA stuff coming to the Steam store is that they still require Origin.
Dang.
That's like Ubisoft games have that. Though you also need this.
I mean,
you need the Uplays.
I'm not surprised. I'm just saying is.
I'm not surprised, but I want to take out to also note that yes, EA games are back, but I just skimming through Steam just now while you were talking about EA. I even noticed like GOG's Thronebreaker and Gwent free to play. It came out in May. No one noticed. It's now available in Steam if you want to bother. I think stuff like that. And they also have Sea of Thieves that came out in June 3.
Yep.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about there is like it's worthwhile for companies to try to challenge or think about ways to confront the Steam monopoly and find new ways to sell games or new ways to provide services to gamers. But at the same time, that Steam is just too big to ignore, for better or for worse. And games from GOG and games from Origin have been hurt a little bit by that. I think it's also cool that almost all the games...
Edge for 500 pesos. Wow.
Yeah, all the games there are on sale right now for I think about a week. So any of you listening to this podcast now, you might be able to catch on to those sales before they go up. Go away.
Yeah. Buy Pego, guys. It's good.
By what? Sorry.
Peggle, the best EA game.
The other thing that
that's-
the other thing I don't like though is that we don't have achievements. I mean, not to sound like a complete
Oh
whore.
no.
Not
Oh,
like
in
I'm
these
so
games?
done with achievements. I'm
Yeah.
so done with
yeah. Well, that's why I'm young and you're all dying. No, but
Sure, man. Sure. Okay.
I am young at heart, for I still love the achievements. No, but seriously, like,
Okay, what?
No,
Yeah.
I just, if I'm gonna buy a game on Steam, and it doesn't have some of the Steam stuff like the Steam achievements, I'm like, I'll just buy it on Origin. Does that make sense?
No, well, to each their own, of course. But it's
Yeah.
actually interesting that if actually there's a lot of people like that are still like Chivo hunters.
Yeah.
Like actually, I want to actually see more of that. Because at least for me, I'm like, I don't want to get the platinum or 100% in Steam anymore. Like it's not something.
Oh, don't get me
Unless I
wrong.
really, really like the game.
Oh, don't get me
like,
wrong. I'm
hard.
not a platinum chaser. I'm not as hardcore as as anyone. I just like seeing to me achievements are a form of progression in the sense that I like this. Like if I have a lot of games I don't finish, I'm like, okay, you bought this game, you need to play it. Finish 25% of the achievements, and at least you can say you extracted some value from this game, from the money you paid for it.
I think the last time I finished the plat, I think the last time I did a plat was like I think Final Fantasy 15, and we know how long that was out.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
right, I actually got a plat for 15, but yeah. Miggy got the plat for for remake, the Mad Lad.
Oh, yeah.
The Mad Lad.
He's a star.
I know.
The only platinum
But
I
yeah,
have.
that's your first.
So
okay.
did you like
No,
the
but
game-
that's
so
actually
did-
pretty cool.
So did you like the game, Miguel?
I don't know.
Was it good?
I don't know. Check out our
After-
review.
After 150 hours, did you enjoy it?
I don't know. It's all right.
I don't know.
Who
Read
wrote-
your review.
Yeah.
Your review.
God, yeah, who wrote that stinking review?
Probably you. But yeah, that's actually pretty cool. And I think that's it. Unless wait, is there anything else we want to add on? Any more games we want to talk about? Because me, I'm all Valorant, and I also actually played. I'm actually on the process of actually working because we got a review copy for The Last of Us Part 2.
Sick.
And yeah, I can't say anything about that, but I'm already done. My review should be out on the 12th with the rest of the world. And
You know what's not nice?
what?
Valorant's anti-cheat program.
Oh no!
Yeah, because that's why Miggy can't play with
Oh, yeah,
us. That's why.
Oh, why?
It's intrusive as fuck. That's
Oh, why?
No, I'm saying it's like what? So how does the anti-cheat
No,
system?
what's that? Vanguard? I
Yeah,
think
it's
that's
called
the name of the
Vanguard.
anti-cheat.
Yeah.
What it does, it's an anti-cheat program that's like kernel levels deep.
Mhm.
So it even like it stops third party apps or plugins or programs from executing in your PC that looks like anti-cheat programs. So there can be false positives
Oh God!
that can be hit. And not only that, it opens up during boot time. So what happens is in order to play Valorant properly, if the Vanguard anti-cheat isn't activated during that time, you have to restart your PC to actually make the game work. So you have to have a
that
hard
sucks.
restart.
That sucks.
And what's happening in Miggy's case is worse because it's messing up with his boot time.
Oh
Mhm.
God! Yeah, like I had the same problem a couple of years ago where last year with Apex Legends, like easy anti-cheat refused to like register properly in my system, so I couldn't play it when it was like the hot shit.
And I know even as the app itself, like as an intrusive anti-cheat, I don't know, I'm kind of iffy about it. Like even this is Riot Games, which is under Tencent. That's something to think about. Like, are you giving info deliberately just to play?
I mean, near as I can tell, the track record for Riot Games for Tencent's game company relationships is that they haven't historically tried to use games to steal data from us, but it's still an eyebrow-raising concern, given that many other companies have participated in that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but the most important thing, Miggy can't play with us. Dang
Yeah,
it.
no, exactly. It's an inconvenience. Absolutely, you're right, Carlos. It's it's trying to do something, and then the end result that matters is that he can't play, and that sucks. That's a
but there's no like actual fix, Miggy. Yeah, it's just really like there's nothing that can be done.
As far as I've seen, like this has apparently been an issue even before it came out, like during some of the closed betas and all that, where people are saying that it's specifically the anti-cheat that is causing problems. And so that like even before this came out, I was already worried about that. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. And like it's not just that it's so intrusive that it messes with my system. Like I can't even boot the game. Or maybe it's doing the same thing where I have to wait like 40 minutes for it to even try to do something. So yeah, it's not worth the trouble. At least on my end.
Fix it, Riot.
But that's the games we've been playing so far. We might talk more, of course, in the next episode next week, because we have a lot planned on the pipeline. Actually, it's actually very busy. June, and it'll be even more busy simply because, like we mentioned at the start of the podcast, we actually have the PlayStation 5 showcase, whatever event, whatever presentations they're going to be doing, and as well as other live streaming presentations from other companies that are like, this is the result of all these conventions being canceled. Like companies are doing their own thing.
And we've got a lot of reviews coming down the pipeline as well, I believe.
Yeah, we have a lot planned, so it's going to be a very busy next coming weeks. But show must go on, and
Summer of Gaming,
more episodes.
Summer of Gaming and games, video game releases despite COVID-19 and all that stuff. They're ramping up. They're ramping up.
They're definitely ramping up, and it's actually pretty cool. It's actually pretty exciting, and I think that's it for 204. Thanks for listening in. We have an episode every week, or at least we try. So sorry.
Before we wrap up, I just want to say one last thing, which is
go ahead.
No, I just want to draw attention to. So there is a bundle on itch.io right now. I think many people on social media have already heard about this, but on itch.io, a bundle.
Oh.
On itch.io, please look for the racial equality and justice bundle. It is a bundle of 742 games. Tabletop games, role-playing games, and video games even, and the money that they're getting from this bundle will go towards funding the NAACP and a bail fund to help people in participating in the Black Lives Matter movement. I bring that up because not just for like the social stuff, which is important, but also for the fact that there are a lot of good games that you might be interested. 742 is more games than anybody will be able to finish within a lifetime, I believe. But you'll get games like A Short Hike, Oxenfree, One Shot, Cook Serve Delicious, Quench, and many other games. So yeah,
Oxenfree.
Yeah, lots of.
I remember that.
Lots of great games in there. So I urge any of you listening to check out the bundle.
When is the bundle going to be available? Because I think this episode could be out on this week.
It's out now.
Or next week.
It's out now. The
bundle. No, I mean, how long is going to be? How long is it going to be open? It's going to be open. There's no actual limit.
There are, I think, 7 or 8 days from now, and they are trying. They tried to. Their original goal was to make $1 million to donate. They have crossed that threshold. They are now past $2 million, and they're hoping to make $5 million. So, yeah.
Yeah, video games, man. Video games. Anyway.
Yeah, so
that's,
video games. I just wanted to call attention to that before we wrapped up.
Well, definitely, if everybody actually is like, getting their eyebrows raised by that, you can actually check it out. We might probably put a link over in the description.
Yeah.
And I think that's it for 204. Again, we have podcasts every week. That's the goal. That's the aim. And you can actually listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts and other platforms where you actually get your podcasts. And any of our reviews, contents, or anything of that nature, you can find it at www.toomuchgaming.net. Any concerns, clarifications, or anything under the sun, you can actually email us at contact@toomuchgaming.net. And if you want to shout at Matthew or Celia, because I've been doing it, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Arcelia Matthew.
There you go. I think that's it.
Da.
See ya.
Yes.
Da. Bye.
Oh.
Sweet potatoes.
Are we live or are we still like muted?
We're live. If you got the notif, we're live.
All right.
So they heard all the sandwiches?
I mean, they still haven't figured it out. So
Well, yeah, they'll never figure it out.
yeah,
For all they know, that's how they start the podcast and how, that's just how it works.
they'll learn eventually.
They might.
Yep.